WN, Chapter 12. Overwhelmed by pleasure. Su Yang's fair hands approached Elder Lan's rear with a calm expression on his face, seemingly unaffected by the situation, as though he was used to it. A second later, he lifts her robes, revealing her snow-white buttocks, silky red undergarment, and her long, smooth legs. Her butt was round, perky and smooth-looking, like two pieces of beautiful pearl next to each other. Even in his previous life, Su Yang has not seen many maidens with buttocks as beautiful and flawless as Elder Lan's. He gently caressed it as though it was a fragile treasure. The moment Su Yang's finger touched the surface of Elder Lan's jade-like skin, her body trembled. He then pushed all 10 of his fingers deep into her soft butt cheeks, sending a shock of pleasure through her body. Ah tilde, Elder Lan unintentionally moaned from the sudden pleasure in midst her immense pain. She wasn't in the right mind to pay attention to what Su Yang was doing behind her, but whatever it was, she wanted more. Su Yang continued to massage her butt, and the way he massaged it made it look as though he was kneading bread, each movement made with flawless precision. Elder Lan's pain gradually subdued, and pleasure quickly overwhelmed her. Ah, more, ah. Her body began feeling lust for the first time, and she unconsciously pleaded for more. Her black eyes flickered like the stars in a night sky, and a dark spot appeared in the middle of her red undergarment between her legs, gradually growing larger and darker. Her bottom lip suddenly felt a tingling sensation, and her body began trembling even harder. Elder Lan felt fear and nervousness. She knew that this pleasure would soon consume her body and soul, yet she didn't tell Su Yang to stop. Something is coming. She suddenly felt an urge to pee. It was at this moment Su Yang slid a finger underneath her underwear, touching the most sensitive part of her body, the clitoris. The moment his finger touched her little pink jewel, Elder Lan felt as though her body was struck by lightning, temporarily shutting down her mind and body for an instant. And in that instant, the dam blocking the water within her body was released, causing a flow of sparkling water to gush out like a fountain. Ah, Elder Lan, for the first time in her life, has finally experienced an orgasm. Su Yang retrieved his hand that was soaking wet from Elder Lan's virgin juice from under her robe and casually dried it with his own robe. Since the yin within your body was unstable, the only other option was to have your body release them. Su Yang said to Elder Lan, who was laying on the cold floor, her body still twitching from the aftermath, and he continued. I will also give you a prescription later on. Be sure to take it every day or the pain will return before our next treatment. Ha, ha, ha. Elder Lan did not reply to him. She was too busy trying to breathe properly. The inside of her mind was chaotic. It was as though 1,000 beasts were rampaging within. Su Yang did not bother her and went to wash his hands. Afterward, he took out a pen and paper and began writing a prescription for her. By the time he was done, Elder Lan had only just calmed down, mentally. She propelled herself off the floor and glared at Su Yang with killing intent, her face beet red like a tomato. Time passed extremely slowly at this moment. It felt as though time had stopped for Elder Lan. Never in her life would she have imagined that her body would be played around in such a fashion by a mere outer court disciple. Just thinking about the shameless expressions she made and how vulgar she acted during the treatment was enough for her to want to kill herself. Furthermore, the fact that she enjoyed it immensely only made her feel worse. Here's your prescription, don't forget to take it. Su Yang handed a piece of paper to her. Seeing how Elder Lan sat there like a stone statue, Su Yang sighed. Don't think too much about it, it was just treatment for your illness. Just act as though nothing happened. Act as though nothing happened. Do you think I can do something like that? Elder Lan suddenly shouted, causing Su Yang to lift an eyebrow. My body is now dirty from your hands. All the efforts that I have spent into keeping it pure are now worthless. Not to mention you are only a mere outer court disciple and I am a sect elder. How are you going to take responsibility? Dirty? Su Yang suddenly frowned. How ungrateful, even after all the efforts that I had put into saving you from your misery. Do you have any idea how many women in this world would die to have their body touched by me? HMPH. Get out, he coldly snorted, feeling enraged for the first time since his rebirth. Elder Lan's expression froze after seeing the cold look on Su Yang's usually calm face, and a feeling of fear appeared in her heart. Elder Lan suddenly bit her lips. She then forced herself to stand up, and despite having no strength remaining in her legs, she managed to walk herself out the door, after stumbling and falling a few times on the way there. After Elder Lan's figure disappeared from his sight, Su Yang collapsed on the bed with an exhausted expression. Really, an ungrateful woman, he smiled bitterly before slowly falling asleep.